Georgina Marie Guardado is the Poet Laureate Emerita of Lake County, California for 2020 to 2024, and a Poets Laureate Fellow with the Academy of American Poets. She is the Literacy Program Coordinator for the Lake County Library and President of the Mendocino Coast Writers Conference. Georgina has received support from the Academy of American Poets, Mendocino Coast Writers Conference, Napa Valley Writers Conference, Hugo House, and San Francisco Writing Salon. Her work has appeared in the Bloom, Noyo Review, Poets.org, Humble Pie Magazine, Gulf Coast Journal, the Yellow Medicine Review, the Muleskinner Journal, Colossus, Freedom, and Two Hawks Quarterly. She earned her BA in Liberal Studies, Literature, and Creative Writing from Antioch University and her MFA from the Pacific University MFA in Writing program, where she was a scholar of the Kwame Davis Mapmakers and Master of Fine Arts Merit Endowments. Georgina lives in Northern California. Please welcome Georgina Guardado.
Thank you for having me. Thanks everyone for being here. Can you hear me okay? My cat is also right here, so you might hear her. I want to give a quick content warning for some of my work. It's quite heavy. It often contains grief and trauma, and I'll just start. In the rural land of microaggressions. Whereas my therapist suggested that it doesn't take Einstein to explain the theory of politeness, and I didn't feel so much like a failure for holding as many grudges as the number of acorns the neighborhood oaks have dropped since autumn began. When I said I carry a pattern of walking away, he gently edited my word choice. A pattern carries a negative connotation. Say instead, you carry a theme in your life decisions. Some say to be the bigger person, to stop burning bridges. But what if there wasn't a bridge to begin with, and I was only holding up prayer flags beneath the feet of colonialism, not realizing I was the native clown floating upstream? Each time the city councilwoman asks, why does race matter? When my peers say, quit the virtue signaling. When a friend says, I don't see you as a person of color, my prayer flags beg for arrest. The language of humility keeps writing a book in my veins. Some days I write myself into a reference no one will understand, so I can say with certainty, they won't ever understand where I'm coming from. Thank you. I chose that poem since it's Native American Heritage Month. So I'm going to kind of bounce around from two different forms of grief. Because we just finished Dia de los Muertos, and grief it's had such a presence in my life in the recent years. This is Clary Sage. The years have concluded that I will carry emptiness indefinitely. When heavy winds make the cemetery trees sway, I feel it. There is no worry, but consideration for what is left to grow. If I could manifest the bodies of my sisters, if I could plant gardenia and calla lilies and be assured they would feel the blooming stems, grasp the scent of floral birth, the ache of their loss would lessen. The clary sage I inhale and exhale each morning to stave off the pain of everything, the art of losing, would not be such a necessity. I have lost women who made up parts of me, sealed in urns and caskets. They have become one with the unknown, anointed by the same seasons that stretch my grief beyond the roots of understanding. I will water it daily. Practicing poetry in a dance studio. Sitting in a room with lavender walls, my sanctuary on this day, our day of words. But yesterday, driving along Highway 12 with my best friend to the Valley of Grass, a storm brewing on the horizon, we talk about layers of blue in the sky and war crime, how colonialism affected my people all those years ago, how it is affecting the other side of the world now. how bodies are exploded in times of genocide, how desecrating the holy shapes an entire people, impacts the earth's surface when their anatomies are forced into the ground, lacerated and bent and broken, how bodies once sacred burn to ash, how we torture in the name of peace, how we kill in the name of God. Sitting in a room with lavender walls, I ask myself, which war is mine to carry? I have kind of a series of deer poems that have started through the years, and I chose. I actually didn't choose this intentionally. They kind of lined themselves up when I was choosing poems for tonight, so these two have some deer references. Body counts and fawn responses. No man would say I mastered the intimacy of seduction since I practiced without the use of manipulation. Perhaps a sad girl trying to find my absent father, or a long gone lover in men with dominant attitudes and a certain confidence in making the first move. I won't deny it. I will even admit it. Have fun sleeping with the whole county, one lover said when I told him no for the first time. No is equal to whore in his mind. Yet no is also equal to he can do what he wants if he wants it. Some world we live in. I did move on to the next man and the next and the next. Sorry, there's some background noise going on. Let's see. I did move on to the next man and the next and the next. I saw a weak deer on the side of Highway 29 today, laid on dry grass against a barbed wire fence. Her head turned away from traffic as if to soften the noise of a potential impact, hoping to be left alone, perhaps provided safety. This is what it feels like sometimes. Bodies and bodies, one more valuable over the other, one just trying to take cover. This next poem, I'm going to read a epigraph that is made up of confirmed information and statistics. And the poem is called My Mother is Dear. Native American boarding schools were established by the US government as an effort to assimilate indigenous youth into mainstream American culture through education. This era was part of the United States' overall attempt to kill, annihilate, or assimilate indigenous peoples and eradicate indigenous culture. There is little documented history of adult natives also institutionalized in the 1960s and 70s, or their treatment, inhumane or other. My mother as deer. Deer see headlights, they freeze. I asked God if my mother saw the institution coming, if God had the power to prevent it, my mother's mother moving through any blinding spotlight to reach a cage for her daughter, though not as a method for assimilation, but punishment, blaming her own daughter for causing her father's death, the alcohol consumption, the falling down, the crashing of his skull on boulders. In my imagined memory, I see my mother kicking and screaming, fighting her way up from the asylum door. I remember there is no God for us. A winter night, my brother and I kept awake with long overdue conversations, an ignored memory of our eldest sister driving past the now torn down hospital, unknowing why our mother was there. Only the words our father shared that our mother was once left behind. I realized why our mother's eyes turned to melting mercury every time I suggest therapy. It was the 1970s, her brown skin, her high cheekbones, her propensity to be easily knocked over, a newborn fawn struggling to walk for the first time. I can only imagine her being an easy target, her mother driving the family car straight toward her, headlights bright as the sun, her mother holding the crossbow, the institution holding the gravestones. Thank you. So I have two more somewhat heavy poems, and I'll end with one that's a little lighter because I realize these are quite substantial. to the toddler representing himself in immigration court. It took 2 days for an Amazon purchase to reach my office, a bilingual copy of The Very Hungry Caterpillar for the new group of little ones who will sit around together in a circle on a colorful carpet and be read a story. Each child will look ahead to the kind reader, her sweet gestures, her warm, excited voice as she turns each vibrant page, celebrating equally words printed in English and Spanish. Her brown skin clothed in a purple floral dress, only softness. When I see your photo in the news, you are facing a judge 60 years older than you, alone. You have no parents beside you. There are no flowers in the courtroom, no soft words like caterpillar or apple or butterfly, but you are expected to understand words like government, unaccompanied, or understand. You do not even know what a courtroom is. Dear child, you will never read this. Your outcome is uncertain, left to a broken system. Thoughts and prayers will serve no purpose. Still, a space in the colorful circle will be saved for you, a gavel replaced by a book. So this poem was kind of a rewrite recently from a prompt I was given, and I haven't edited it, and it just kind of came out the way that I wanted it to. So I thought I'd just read it. Summoning a world unending. As if there were no reasons to be afraid to walk alone at night. As if one of the men who murdered my friend didn't walk free today. As if another white man didn't arrive fully armed to a school full of children, aimed his weapon straight toward them, and fired, and lawmakers found in themselves a reason to limit access to guns we should have no right to access. If only we could summon a country where white politicians didn't have a say in how to divide the state of California, how to cut this part and that part, creating new borders they have no right to determine. If only we could summon no cages. Imagine slavery was considered a bad thing. If only no one had to live in the streets. Imagine if apathy was eliminated. Religion had to hold itself to its own standards. Imagine consent was a rule of God. Imagine if the world wasn't ending with our own hand. Thank you for listening. I have the urge to apologize when I read these types of poems, and I'm trying not to do that because this is our world, and these are my experiences in this world. So thank you for listening. I'm going to end with a little lighter note. One day of rain. After half a year, sleep deprived, depression laden, I'm finding my way through a tunnel where people say there is always a light at the end. The sun still hurts my eyes, but its warmth doesn't make me nauseous. The self is coaxed back with the turning of autumn leaves. One day of rain solved a mystery of whether I can still find comfort in the earth. In my presence, the household pothos will not stop growing. Something is said here in what I can still keep alive. Thank you. I think what I'll do, I will just pull up my thesis, which I've been reading from recently because I graduated just a few months ago with my my MFA. So I'll just pull up a couple. And I can actually, while I'm pulling this up, I can preface one of the poems, which I know I typically don't do, but I had a friend who was murdered in January here in Lake County, where I live, unfortunately. And one of his murderers was let go, as I mentioned in one of the poems. And his trial is starting soon. And I've experienced a lot of death in the past few years, my sisters, other family members. But his is the most recent. And I think his was the one affecting me most during Day of the Dead this week. And so I did write him a poem that I'll share, and it was in my thesis. Guadalupe under the oak tree at Library Park. Next to the red tulips I left for him, now soaked in rainwater, is a candle of the Virgin Guadalupe, with a pack of cigarettes and unopened bottle of Modelo leaning against it nearly 2 months later. The sound of his fatal gunshots lost somewhere in the motion of springtime, in the churning wakes made bold by speedboats. I don't imagine their drivers know, steps away from the docks, that a life ended here. This, a makeshift church under an age-old oak, marks a never-ending winter, where melted snow and days of rain have worn down concrete bloodstains, washed away residue of gunpowder and his just-written poems, the ink of his words, his tattoos becoming one with the petrichor. And I have one more small one that I'll read and then I'll end there. These wild things. In the afterthought of lost joy, I find myself sitting quietly, solemn, observing wood ducks and grebes floating effortlessly on water, little Jesus birds of the lake. Light beats upon me. I am still broken, being considerate not to look into the little eyes of these water creatures, so not to soil them in human despair. But I fill my body with earth, water infused with mint, coffee mixed with maca, flour blends dropped under the tongue. Still, I perish despite attempted nourishment. I almost expect to be surrounded by vultures. Instead, mourning doves and hope. I think I'll go ahead and end there.